Our heart beats around 100,000 times a day. We schedule our lives, our work, and our sleep around the rotation of our planet. We build our entire civilization around a force that we cannot see, touch, or hold in this glass container. So, pulling a question from the jar today, how did our ancestors actually figure out how to trap and measure something completely invisible? To find the answer, we have to follow a relentless chase across thousands of years. We are going to see how humans shrank the measurement of time from the massive scale of the solar system down to the vibrations of a single atom. Before we had precise screens and smart devices, we were essentially blind to the exact passage of minutes. In that world, figuring out how to build a clock became one of our most vital tools for survival. In the age of shadows, early civilizations like the ancient Egyptians looked to the sky. By erecting massive stone obelisks, they used the predictable rotation of the Earth to turn moving shadows into our first visual indicators of the day. But relying on shadows came with a fatal engineering flaw. The moment the sun set or thick clouds rolled in, these giant stone markers became useless. To conquer the darkness of night, engineers brought time indoors. This transition into the age of flow was led by the clepsydrae, or the water clock. These devices measured time by observing the steady, gravitational drip of water from one vessel into another. By tracking the water level against marked lines, we could finally tell time without the sun. Yet water clocks were inherently inconsistent. As the top container emptied, the water pressure dropped, causing the flow to slow down over time. And in winter, freezing temperatures would stop the clock entirely. As long as we relied on raw natural elements, sunlight and water, our measurements remained vulnerable to the environment. We needed a self-contained machine that could run on its own. The age of gears began in medieval monasteries. Monks needed exact schedules for prayers and chores, so they abandoned natural elements and harnessed kinetic energy, using heavy, falling iron weights to drive a sequence of metal parts. The breakthrough was the escapement, transferring energy from a descending weight into gears at a steady pace. Notice how it catches and releases the gear teeth. By locking and unlocking, it chops gravity's pull into fractions, creating the recognizable tick-tock sound. In the 17th century, clockmakers applied Galileo's theories of pendulum motion to these gears. This combination reduced the daily error of timepieces from minutes to just a few seconds. On land, these autonomous machines allowed us to synchronize global railroad schedules. By proving that mechanical energy to be precisely regulated, they provided the technical blueprint for the specialized chronometers that eventually guided ships across the oceans. However, even metal has physical limits. Gears warp in fluctuating heat, and constant friction wears the parts down. These mechanical systems inherently lose time as they age. While mechanical clocks freed us from the weather, their reliance on grinding physical materials meant that absolute permanent precision was still impossible. To find ultimate precision, scientists realized they had to move beyond physical moving parts. This led to the modern age of atoms. Atomic clocks don't use gears or pendulums. Instead, they measure the exact, unchangeable energy vibrations of the cesium-133 atom. By tracking over 9 billion of these oscillations every second, an atomic clock achieves a stability where it will not lose a single second in millions of years. By isolating the fundamental physics of the atom, we have created a measurement of time that is completely independent of the physical flaws found here on Earth. Let's pause the timeline for a moment with Deidre to see how environmental constraints actually dictate the way we design our technology. Thinking point 1. If you were trapped on a desert island, which ancient clock would be the easiest to build to track the passing days? The answer is the sundial. It only requires a stick and the predictable rotation of our planet. Thinking point 2. Why were water clocks and standard pendulum clocks completely useless for sailors out on the open ocean? The constant rocking of ocean waves disrupted the stable gravity required for both steady water flow and a consistent pendulum swing. Thinking point 3. What fundamental trait do the sun, dripping water, a swinging pendulum, and a vibrating atom all share? They are all forms of constant, predictable motion. This proves that a clock is ultimately just a machine that counts motion. Let's lock in the most important milestones with Devin in a rapid-fire trivia challenge. Question 1. What ancient timekeeping device was rendered completely useless by a cloudy day? The sundial. Question 2. Which 17th century scientist's theories of motion helped create the highly accurate pendulum clock? Galileo Galilei. Question 3. What specific element is measured over 9 billion times a second to power today's atomic clocks? The cesium-133 atom. Remembering these milestones helps us appreciate the massive technological struggles hidden inside the everyday devices we carry in our pockets. Today, atomic precision serves as the invisible backbone that allows GPS satellites and the internet to function. We have transformed time from an unpredictable natural cycle into a surgical tool used to map our oceans and explore stars. It makes you wonder what mystery will be pulled from the jar next. Make sure to subscribe so you can join us for the answer. The physical chase for precision has reached the level of the atom, but human curiosity will always remain our most powerful engine.